March 2024. I hope your year is going well. Boy, this year's flying by fast, isn't it? I'll tell you, there is a dietary hack, and it is becoming extremely obvious. And anyone who is wasting their money, billions of dollars are spent in this industry. And I apprehensively, even though I saw great results, admittedly with the carnivore, I only did it last year for about, I would say, a month and a half. I'd way in the past relied on protein fasting, and I think that really stalled out my results. And every time I would go back temporarily to carnivore, that's when I would get the results. So the past, I'm going into my 4th week now, and every time I would struggle and lose a few pounds. So by the way, I lost 80 pounds in the last, it's not even been 12 months, it's been 11 months. And I think I lost that around 80 pounds going into the 10th month. And I could be embellishing a little bit because there was some weight with clothing and things like that. But I really went out on a limb when I got very lean, and I'm still, I'm not where I want to be or need to be as far as showing each area, each body part, each area of muscle mass in distinction to one another. Systemically, I'm in good shape. I still have quite a bit of pocketed fat in certain regions, and with the walks, that comes off almost exactly as one would expect. In other words, you see that 3,600 calorie mark for 1 pound of fat, and the fact that in an average long, slow distance walk, you might burn 7, maybe even up to 900 calories in that walk. And it takes about that long. It takes about 5-6 days to burn off that pound. But the whole point to this video is that when I go on carnivore, no matter how much I eat in one day, I never gain fat. And I put this to the test. And I can tell you that 100%, this is accurate, is that once you burn that fat off and you go on to carnivore, your body fights to keep those ketone bodies in play constantly. And if you're very religious and rigorous about the way that you approach this, and that is, I rely as the center to my diet, the protein custard. I get in all my essential fatty acids, I get my vitamin D and all the B's in. If I take in a minimum of, and lately I've been getting in 3 eggs every single day, along with just what I determined is 1 scoop of protein powder. Anything more than that, you got to remember that protein powder is also processed food. It's not whole food. So a big part of what makes the carnivore work, I believe, is that it's a whole food source. And though, like most people, I don't feel good about eating animals, but it is the closest, meat is the closest to, biologically, to what we are trying to effectively bolster, which is lean muscle tissue, lean muscle mass, fascia, bone. I even bake, microwave, and then crush eggshells and save it because it's got such a high biological value in usable calcium ions, right? So it's better. And of course, things like creatine, I just started in on a trace mineral supplement, and I'm going to be getting a good multivitamin through EVL just either tomorrow or the next day. Right? And I did a little bit of the tribulus, but that was something that worked in the past, but something that I don't really do. You see the coffee there. And so you've got to put the time in, but I really feel like I've got a dietary hack down here. And that is I'll do about, it's almost always the 10 sets per night. Seems to be right on, but sometimes I do more, sometimes I do less, but that 10 sets doesn't overwhelm me. And I'll do 3 or 4 sets in a given body part or muscle group, you know, and I'll try to shift and change it up. But, you know, it's last night it was shoulders. So shoulder presses, band, heavy band, like the band that produces 120 to 150 at the top of the motion pounds of pressure. And I'll do sets of 12 and then pull-ups. I'll usually try to stick with sets of 12 to 15, all the way up to 20, but sets of 12 done correctly seem to be a really good rep range for me to be able to do other exercises thereafter or combined therein. And then I do a hanging curl for my biceps. It's really the only thing that where I can use body weight and I'm not using bands. And I'm getting one of my bands broke that I used, you know, for more isolation type movements. So I try not to rely too much on the bands. I try to focus more on, but I don't want to do like inverted shoulder presses or, you know, getting into these calisthenic upside down movements quite yet. That's something where when I get in a little more comfortable situation and I got my camera's worked out, and I'm still on the road to getting to where I'm trying to get. So flexibility is going to be, and then speed and agility training are going to be a big thing that I work on in the coming months that I'll be putting up on this channel. And that's where I'll be transitioning more toward training lives, like actually going on live streams and showing training. Right now, the training's really boring. It's just very straightforward. You know, like I said, 9 to 12 sets. And 10 sets has been seeming really good. And then I'll usually throw in, like last night, I did just 1 set of behind the neck, behind the head pull-ups, just to weight the area up that I worked on the prior night. Sometimes I'll work on the same muscle groups, and sometimes I'll even do the same exercises the next day. And I see a lot of benefits to just pre-fatiguing, even if I'm not getting the same rep range. You know, I'm not allowing total recovery to take place. But with the creatine, that 24-hour, and then of course the carnivore, getting in adequate, not only protein but calories. You know, I save all the fat. This is disgusting, but I'll show you. I save, and I end up using so much tinfoil that I save that for the next day too. That's all fat. That is bacon fat. Sometimes when I have pork, that would be pork fat. It's chicken fat. It's a lot of the seasoning and the drip off, and that's a lot of beef. So for the next like 5 days, I won't have 5-6 days. I won't have any beef. I thought that I had bought enough beef, but I went through 3 packages of 12 patties, and so it seems to be perfect to have one Walmart package, 3-pound, 75% lean beef, 1 package for the whole week, and then along with 3 eggs per day. So possibly an 18 pack of eggs would be perfect. Maybe I'd be dipping into the next 18 pack, and you know, it'd be about 21 eggs for the week. But I find that one day of either fasting or just kind of changing things up a little bit, just to break the monotony, seems like something important, you know. And at first you could use that to cheat if you wanted to, and then you'd start to see how detrimental it is that you stay in ketosis and on carnivore, right? But in the beginning, when you're just trying to lose weight itself and you're not really focusing in on the fat per se, quite yet, like when you're on carnivore, your waist will lean up. you will get a very small taut waist no matter what. And it's amazing. And that's the first thing that you really see as a significance, you know. But something that I noticed is getting rid of the chest fat. It may be genetics, maybe past training, it may be putting myself in through a lot of abuse, especially hormonally, you know, to say that it's going to take a while for my chest to actually, like, I'm 159 pounds. I shouldn't have any fat in my around my chest at all, but it's just pocketed there. But on some levels, some people might say that's cool the way that you're storing the fat because it's like it makes your chest look even bigger, you know. So I've got like a 44-inch chest and a 29-inch waist without embellishing, you know. So I'm trying to kind of hang on to those stats at this moment too. And I'm getting closer toward that Adonis index. And so I really feel like I've got this dietary hack down that I can really report 100% conclusively without using anything that I haven't shown here on this channel, that the number is 7 to 12 miles. So if you can average about 10 miles per day, and I would say every day, but if you can only manage to get in 5 days, that's the mark. That's the goal. It gives you a goal, right? Giving you some concrete goals that are going to make some amazing changes in your life. The other thing is you can take a little less than this. You can do a little more. Okay, I got a little disturbance there. 1 gallon of water every day. So 10 miles walking, 1 gallon of water per day, right? And then carnivore, I'm telling you what I do and what works for me. But we're going to just say your as a general center meal is the protein custard, is that one scoop. It can be a little less, can be a little more of your choice of high quality whey protein. Could you use pea protein? I don't know. I go off of the animal byproducts and products because I can trust that. I know that the quality's there. I know that the value's there. I know that the money's made, and that's really what this industry is focused primarily on. And I'm not sure where the vegetarian, vegan, pea protein, and specific market is as far as them meeting where there aren't any sort of shortcuts taken and that there's optimal processing and science behind what goes into it. And I know that the whey protein has that. And I can see it. I can feel it. It's something tangible, right? So a lot of times like this would be probably my number one. Not that that's what's in here right now, but it's the ISO pure banana flavor, banana cream. I haven't tried the coconut, and there's a couple other flavors, but I typically will digress to the BPI protein, but I love the ISO pure because you're getting all the vitamins and nutrients. But now that I'm starting on multivitamin, I'm not as concerned with that. I also eat cheese, and I've switched over to just doing Walmart brand. I go through a lot of Jack cheese, and those are the eggs that I use, the Egglin. So 3 of those a day, 1 scoop of protein around, and then I'll add 4 to 6 ounces of water. I will blend that, and I'll do a double boiler. So I'll put water in this larger pot, and this is just like a 2 cup. I'll make it in this. It won't even cover about a third of that. and then I'll use, not every time, but I'll use Swerve brown sugar. And I'll add a little water, a little warm water to that, and make like a drizzle on top. This is when things are good. And then I'll use the Walmart brand cinnamon. And then because I'm getting in the omega-3s, you can see I'll be getting probably avocado oil or just straight olive oil next time, but that's sunflower oil. It's about 80% sunflower oil. But that's high in omega-6, but I also know that I'm getting in the omega-3s every day. It's made a big difference. I could feel it. It takes a while when you're low on omega-3s, but just you saw it just on the Eggland container there. It shows omega-3s right here. I'll just show you again. There's 125, I think. Yeah, 125 milligrams of omega-3 on average. So eat 3 eggs and you've got enough omega-3s. Something that if you're not seeing the results that you sought, especially if you're a fat, skinny person that's more of an ectomorph, but because of stress, dietary changes, and so forth, grief, you put fat on in weird places, and you're really trying to lean up, but you don't have a huge amount of muscle mass, I'd say the MCT coconut oil is very important to think about. And that's something that you can get from Amazon, I know for sure, for about 12, 15 bucks. You can start supplementing him with that because that is not omega-3, 6, or 9. It's a medium chain triglyceride, and it's going to give you more available energy, but it's not going all the way towards saturated fats, animal fats, But are you on carnivore? The purists would say no, right? So that's essentially what I do every single day, and what's getting me my results. I'm disclosing it. It's not rocket science, and I think that if I'm able to continue on with this for another month or two, I'm going to be able to show profound results that are going to cause people to start really looking at what's this guy doing, because it's not just getting really fit in a short period of time, showing the aesthetics and the noticeable results, but it's also an anti-aging. If you think I look old now, look at my videos before. The skin's looking good, the taper's great, everything's good. Everything's doing really well at 54 years old. So if I can be at all an example to the OGs, and to tell you that I have a friend who's 390 pounds, he admitted the other night. I'm like, man, just, I can't tell you what to do, but just do carnivore. Like when you're really blowing it, even though it's got the nitrates and everything else, to celebrate, I'll buy bacon. It's amazing. It's so decadent. I haven't had it in a while, but I know that I could have it anytime. Cream cheese that I could make. There's a couple recipes that I have down below. One in particular where I even use Crystal Light, and it gives this more summery flavor, right? You can use like the lemonade or the strawberry flavor. But you could also use allulose. And that's the other thing, is that I've been using allulose. I've been using erythritol. I've been using monk fruit. And I've been making, like last night, whenever I have heavy cream, I almost always make protein ice cream. All I do is I will get a shallow, small, literally it's probably like 2 or 3 ounces. Look at that little plate. Well, I'll fill that up with cream, and I have a video down below where I show that. I'll add in cinnamon. I'll add in the brown sugar Swerve, and then I'll add in about a quarter to a half scoop, usually like a quarter scoop of protein powder, and that constitutes the milk, right? And then I'll put it in the freezer for about 15 minutes. And particularly that Walmart brand, because of the thickening agent that's put in there, it freezes faster, but it doesn't create the ice crystals. And they do that on purpose for transport and so forth, because they're making so much of it. and they're definitely focused in on their profit margin. But to me, it's a good quality product from what I know, and that it doesn't produce the ice crystals when I'm making the ice cream. So then I'll stir it after 15 minutes. I'll put it back in for another 10 or 15 minutes, pull it out, and I've got amazing ice cream. And then the other thing that I didn't show that I just added in is sometimes you just need that crunch. So I'll use these pork skins, right? And sometimes what I'll do is I'll crush those up into little pieces and I'll cook it in with my custard. I'll put it on top of the ice cream. And it sounds disgusting, but it almost just has this sort of bland, universal flavor. Where if you did add, which I do, some cinnamon and maybe a little brown sugar on that, or you could crush it in together and really mix it together, that it gives you that crunch, but you're still heavily in carnivore in ketosis. And that's how I do it. It's working. I don't plan on changing anything. In fact, the only things that I wanted to change was that I felt like I wasn't getting enough. Like I said, I've got a multivitamin coming. I had a little tiny bit of unexpected bump, I'll call it. I'm not even going to say money, but I was able to order more creatine. So I'll be able to stay on creatine for an entire 8-week cycle. And I'm already 1 week in, and this is the second time I've done it after quite a while. I was on cretinol serum, which is, I always like to report of what you can use your state benefits to get on Amazon. And it's only like $34. And when I've taken it, I've done it twice, I think. There's a specific flavor. Can't remember if it's grape or like a fruit punch flavor, but it does have some, it's kind of cough syrup tasting, but that really helped me during my first couple of months where I started doing the indoor walking, indoor training. And you see, even though I'm telling you what I'm doing, I'm still getting the exercise. It's compounding. I'm able to get my miles in right now as I do these videos. I'm going on 1,200 miles now. Did I ever think in a million years that I would keep doing this indoor? I'm telling you, it's better dietarily. I'm able to eat when I need to. If I feel like I'm crashing, if I need to use the restroom, there it is right over there. If I want to take a break, I got the terrible, ugly couch right there, but it's a couch. It's home, and I appreciate that. And then water. I can keep my water in the freezer. And yes, I use Crystal Light. And I told myself, if I don't see positives come from this, using the Crystal Light, that is, if I'm not losing regularly and something's going on there metabolically, then I'm cutting the Crystal Light out. There's plenty of other alternatives, but I use about a quarter to a third packet of the Crystal Light pitcher packages. And so one of those lasts me over half the week typically. And I'll get a couple boxes of those, and somehow it lasts. Somehow I'm able to get through the entire month very, very easily. So I'm closing in on 1 month again. It's been a very long time. I would say the beginning of my fat loss journey, again here about 10, 11 months ago, when I just first profoundly started to make a dent and lose significant weight to where I'm going, okay, I could do this. And I finally had gotten energy to go back into the gym. And then a dramatic change, metanoia, something cathartic happened in my life. And I decided I'm going into this full time and see where I can take it. And so here I am about 11 months later. And that's what I'm doing. There's absolutely nothing that I've left out. I'm giving you the quantities, my macros. So I'll do the custard, protein custard. That's something I'll do daily. Yesterday, I ended up having about 7 slices of bacon. I loved it. I had about 3 hamburger patties. I eat anywhere between 4 and 6 ounces of cheese almost every day. Sometimes I'll snack. I end up taking more calories in than I would originally anticipate, and I try to get in a variety. Some people are better just saying, I see channels where they talk about eating literally about 3 pounds of meat. So the equivalent to one full 12 patty, 3 pound Walmart package of 75% lean, 25% fat beef, frozen beef. That works for me at the time. And then something that I didn't mention is that I will also do, and I've end that thawing up here, is I've got some, like this is higher in taurine, right? But I'll end up eating an entire one of these in a day. These are almost totally thawed out, and I'll bake those. The best result is just using oil, and then even though it has a little bit nature seasoning, seems to be a really good price point along with the flavor. It's got a little more peppery flavor, but I'll also use soy sauce. I do use soy sauce. I know that the carbohydrate is so minimal and that I'm not going to be cheating or taking a taste out of anything, carbohydrate. I'm really good on that. And I think that you can be good on that too, even though you feel like you can't and it's a struggle. You just have to get used to what's around and the fact that that's all you can do. But again, in reference to the chicken drumsticks, I find that baking them for closer to an hour is more beneficial. I'll even take the temperature up so I know there's nothing raw going on there. I'll take the internal temperature all the way up to 200. 190 to 200, right around there. So I know that that's overcooked or overbaked for most people, but I'd rather overbake it personally. I like it very crispy, so there's more texture. I like to eat it hot. And later I notice when I come back to it, yeah, it can be a little dried out, but I prefer that. So you would bake it to your preference, and that's at a temperature of 400 to 425, somewhere in between. I'd say if your oven holds true, that maybe 400 would be the best temperature to bake it at, and then just leave it open so that you get that nice airy convection crisp going on there. And again, that's just oil on top of that with you can put garlic, you can do nature seasoning, and that seems to just be perfect. It gives that nice crispy. And then I'll usually put Crystal hot sauce on that, cheapest hot sauce you can get at Walmart. And I do like to oftentimes make my beef and chicken with mustard. And just to show you, that's the Walmart cream. And that literally is it. That's what I do. That's what I'm happy with. I don't want to do anything else. Today I had 2 cups of coffee. I haven't eaten yet today. I'm not hungry, but I'll stick with this instant. I'm going to do actual espresso next month because I just need that flavor and that smell. And you do feel the calorie bump. You do feel the decadence with the carnivore. The only trade-off and the biggest trade-off is just knowing that you're eating those animal products and byproducts. And I'm trying to work to a place where I can elevate that and get away from that, where I could be an advocate for something that's superior to meat, something that we can produce as a society together, with the scope and the interest of getting away from the animal sacrifice, right? So that's important to me, but I also know that each day and each calorie can't be, you can't take it for granted. You got to put everything that you have into it. So that's why I'm doing this video while I'm walking, and I'll be walking into the wee hours of the night, even though it's just the afternoon. And whatever it takes to get that 10 miles in, that's the focus that you have to have. And then once you're done with that, you got to be real with yourself and say, no, I don't have enough energy to do a 25 set workout, particularly if I want to wake up tomorrow and continue on with another day. But I'm going to, and that's what GET, gradual intensity training, is all about. Continuous training. It's training when and where you can, and saving a few sets or a few reps or even a few miles if you need to for that next day. And it's primarily focusing on the diet and saying, as long as you have, it's trusting the carnivore diet, you know. That's initially when I started doing GET training and continuous training. That was the focus, was if I can only go in there to that gym and do 5 or 6 sets and then leave and then come back and do 5 or 6 sets later, I'm more conditionally prone to then going in the next evening or the next morning and doing all 10 or 15 sets at once. And then pretty soon I'm doing 10 to 15 sets here, 10 to 15 sets there. And it's the idea of a lifestyle change and continuous training means that instead of sitting on your ass, instead of thinking that's relaxation, right, is to be able to talk, converse, convey while you're walking, while you're moving, while you're tinkering, while you're figuring things out, because we're going into a very turbulent time, not that we're not already in one, where being able to carry through with multifarious tasks, thinking on your feet, becomes ever more important. All right, so that's what I do in a nutshell. Today I'll be doing my 10 miles, and I'll be getting in 10 sets later. And today I'm going to make that chicken and make it very closely, very much the way that I described. One thing that I will usually put on there that I don't want to leave anything out, is you can see how this is pretty much empty. I like the spice, so I'll put on the cayenne pepper. Sometimes I'll throw on a little pepper, you know. I also like to switch around when I'm not drinking, and this is also something that's very good priced. But everything's very cheap. And currently I'm able to do this on state benefits, where I'm getting $291. And I'm getting myself back into a place where I can contribute. My goal is to contribute. That's the type of person that I am, that I want to make grand, big contributions that are worthy of my efforts and of my ambitions. So I'm getting the machinery back. And so I would like to one day have a program that helps people do this, you know, that gets people back and focuses primarily on, and firstly on the physicality, to get the body functioning, you know. And sometimes it's working through injuries, sometimes it's planes of motion. I don't really get into that. I have a majorly damaged right shoulder that causes me a great amount of pain. Kept me from playing sports when I was a kid. It fused back incorrectly right around the acromion process. Basically, I broke my clavicle more than once as a child, and it never healed back. Didn't have the love, time, and resources put into me like a lot of people. And now I'm putting that in through sweat equity. And just to show you, if you haven't seen my other videos, there's the tower.